In this episode of Restore It, we're going to take a break from the new workshop build whilst I get a few time consuming things sorted, like the car lift, the rest of the painting, the lights and so on. And instead, we're going to get stuck into what I really love doing, which is restoring things. The silver Touring and the black sedan are still in Spain. The Touring is due back soon, but the sedan is still waiting for panels from E30 Garage Norway as there have been delays with the postal service. So I thought in the meantime, why not do something I haven't done before, whilst learning some new things and bringing an old dog back to life. And that's exactly what we're going to do with this 1992 BMW 316i Touring that I picked up for just £1,000 sight unseen. Being a 316i, it has an M40 B16 engine which I'm keen to learn from, especially as the previous owner told me that it runs rough and won't go into gear. And so here it is, looking quite sorry for itself and in need of a bit of care. I'm going to have a look around the car and see exactly what I've bought, and I'll bring you along with me even though I've got an awful cold and I sound terrible. I'm just not used to the cold anymore. I guess I'll adapt soon.
So, the first obvious problem is the paint. The bonnet is almost white in comparison to the rest of the car. The next thing you'll notice is little spots of rust, as well as the classic front factory jacking point. The rust continues along the side of the car and to the rear arch, which is actually not that bad, and the rear bumper. This rear door is apparently stuck, well, it is stuck open, but I don't think it's that much of a problem. I think I'll be able to fix that pretty quickly. We're missing the eye from the 316i situation. From this perspective, the boot lid looks quite good, but I bet any money, once I get in there, it will reveal a few secrets. A little bit of moss building up on the seals, but nothing too bad. The sunroof seal is questionable and probably needs replacing. The front end isn't too bad. One of the headlights is extremely fogged up, missing a piece of bumper trim there. But overall, not a bad front end. Moving to the inside of the car, it's actually quite neat. It's not too bad. The door does not want to stay open for some reason.
It's a little bit hard to see, but the car has covered 259,162 miles. That's the highest mileage car I've ever owned.
You probably can't see this, but the glove box is full of mould as well, so that'll be at the top of the list. The handbrake lever has definitely seen better days. I actually pulled this and have now engaged the handbrake, and I can't really undo it because it's a bit messed up.
The dashboard isn't the best I've seen. It's cracked in 4 places, one of which is made up of a few smaller cracks and the rest are large single lines. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet, so let me know what you'd like to see done down in the comments. This condensation was telling me something that I wasn't picking up on at this point.
It comes with what looks like a BMW Bavaria tape player, which is quite cool. Opening the boot, which doesn't stay open by itself till the shocks are gone. Kind of does. Reveals to us some mould. Some disgusting mould. The roof lining also has a little bit of mould on it, just at the back here. Oh, and it's sagging by the looks of it. This piece of carpet trim is permanently flexing that way. I think it's got damp and does not want to go where it should. Another job on the list. And I had a quick look underneath, and I think I see a leaking differential, but other than that, it looks quite clean. A lot cleaner than my silver Touring, that's for sure. I'm about to have my first look at the engine bay and see what we're working with. Not too bad, actually. Doesn't look like there's any rust in the important spots. It's mainly just dirty. This is actually the first time I've dealt with an M40, so it'll be interesting to see what the differences are and learn some new things. But overall, I'm quite happy with that. It looks quite good. I think once it's cleaned, it will be an absolute night and day difference. Obviously, it's a non-runner, really. It's stuck in gear. Well, at least the gear stick is stuck. It doesn't roll very well, and it runs rough, apparently. So I'll get it cleaned up, give it a charge, and we'll see where we're at with it.
The day was coming to an end, and so I had to get the car into the workshop. At this point, the steering lock had engaged, and the broken key that came with it was so worn out that I couldn't turn the key in the ignition to free the steering. So I thought, perfect time to try out my wheel skates, which will allow me to easily push the car into the workshop with minimum effort, right? Well, before I could do that, I had to get the car on the skates. Well, minimum effort just wasn't the case. The car was sat on a slight slope and the floor had large seams in it that made it way harder than I imagined it to be.
So I grabbed the tow hook because I was going to use the winch to get it in because I'm weak AF. And I came around the back, so I looked for it in this place here. And you probably can't see, but there's just a complete puddle of water in the back left jack area. There we go. You can see now it's a small pond.
I eventually got a little bit of movement by just pushing, but this is as far as I got. So after wiring up the hoist I got for the workshop build and bodging it in place, I dragged it in with the press of a button.
After a lot of messing around, I finally got it in. My first use of the hoist was not proper, of course.
Once on the smooth workshop floor, it was much easier to move. So one of the reasons I'm looking forward to getting to know the M40 engine better is because I'll have a factory style workshop repair manual like this one to do it with. This is a manual for the E30. These are the kind of interactive manuals technicians use at the dealership to diagnose and repair customers' cars. I've got one of these for every car I own. They contain step-by-step instructions with pictures, diagrams and torque specs that cover everything you need to know about a particular vehicle. They'll tell you if you need special tools or equipment to complete a particular task, and also how to properly set up and use those tools and equipment. These manuals will show you how to do practically any job you can think of. And what's good about eManual Online is that you can get a manual for almost any car in existence. So to check these out, click the link at the top of the description. These usually sell for only $20, but I'm going to leave a discount code down there for 30% off your entire order. You can download all of your manuals onto any computer and have them for the rest of your wrenching days. It's invaluable information that can save you a ton of money and give you the knowledge and confidence to start your own restoration. Thanks to eManual Online for sponsoring this episode and helping people like me and you to better understand our cars. Let's get back to the touring. Day 2 and time for that first exterior and engine bay wash. The body wasn't too dirty at all, so I used Autoglim's Polar Blast in the foam lance to loosen the little there was and then jet wash it off. Well, looks like the paint isn't faded anymore. If only it were that easy, eh? As for the engine bay, I used some diluted parts washer fluid and a brush to loosen the thick dirt from all of the nooks and crannies. Once I'd brushed every reachable surface, I carefully jet washed it off, focusing mainly on the chassis and going lighter on the engine. Now it was much cleaner and ready to work on. I dragged it back in the workshop and under the best light I had to have a closer look, not before drying everything with a car towel. Before I round this episode off, I'll take the battery out and put it on charge overnight and drain the water in the boot. As I was removing the battery, I couldn't help but think how small it felt for the car, but I wasn't sure if this is all the M40 needs. I gave it a quick test to see what it was and it read 2 volts. I then put it on charge and the charger immediately said it was done and wouldn't charge it. I think I'll start with the new battery just to be safe. To get rid of this water, I'm just going to drill a hole in the bottom and let it drain out naturally, and then I'll spot weld that back up again.
It's like the car's having a well-deserved wee after a long wait. It's going to be a long one. So that's that doing its thing. When I come back in the morning, that should all be gone, and then I can move on to everything else. So there we have it for episode 1 of the Red Touring. So this is going to be a quick fire restoration. I'm going to sort out all of the problems that are apparent, try and find those that aren't, and get this thing back on the road as soon as possible. I won't be stripping this down completely. I probably will take out the engine and gearbox, take off a few things, and sort out what needs sorting. But the main goal is to get it finished as soon as possible and back on the road. The 325i Sport videos are coming, don't worry, and the Silver Touring is going to have a full restoration, fully stripped down, so you'll see that from start to finish, unlike the coupe, the sedan should I say. So thanks for making it to the end, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.